The story begins not with a crime, but with a celebration. It was November 24th, 2014. Sony was preparing to launch a new wave of holiday releases. Marketing teams were buzzing. Studios were finalizing edits. Executives were raising champagne glasses to what looked like a smooth and profitable end of the year. Everything felt predictable. Everything felt safe. And that is exactly when things usually go wrong. Cyber attacks rarely announce themselves like a thief breaking a window. They slip in like uninvited guests at a party. They watch. They wait. And when the moment is right, they flip the lights off and let the room descend into panic. That moment came for Sony in a flash of confusion. An employee tried opening a file. It would not load. Another attempted to access email. Locked. Someone else saw something strange on their screen. A corrupted warning in bright red. Then another saw it. And another. And suddenly, the entire network went dark. Phones lit up. Security rushed into rooms. IT teams scrambled to reboot systems that simply refused to obey. It was as if the entire company had been yanked out of the digital world in a single violent pull. People were standing in hallways holding laptops that had transformed into bricks. Within hours, the truth became undeniable. Sony had not experienced a glitch. They had been hit by a deliberate, hostile, and highly destructive cyber attack. One designed to do maximum damage. One designed to humiliate. One designed to make a statement. The attackers called themselves the Guardians of Peace, a name that sounded calm and reassuring, but represented nothing close to peace. Several movies, including Annie and Fury, were leaked online before their official release dates. Private emails between executives were leaked, causing public embarrassment and strained relationships with actors, partners, and other studios. Thousands of computers and servers were permanently damaged. Hard drives were wiped. Sony temporarily lost access to entire parts of their infrastructure. They played psychological games with an entire corporation. The group demanded Sony cancel the release of The Interview, a comedy film involving a fictional plot about North Korea's leader.
If the attack might be retaliation for another upcoming Sony movie, The Interview, a comedy in which TV reporters are recruited to assassinate North Korean leader Kim Jong-un.
You want us to kill the leader of North Korea?
Yes.
What?
Now, investigators wonder if the plot of that movie may have triggered retaliation against Sony.
The attackers threatened further action if the film was shown in theaters. This turned the hack into a global political story, not just a corporate security incident. For the FBI, the attack was a puzzle made of code and chaos. Investigators followed digital footprints across countries and continents. Command servers hidden behind layers of proxies. Malware signatures that resembled tools used in previous politically motivated attacks. Pieces of the puzzle slowly linked together. Eventually, the FBI reached its conclusion. The FBI conducted a deep forensic investigation and announced that the attack was state-sponsored. They attributed it to North Korea, based on code similarities between Sony malware and previous North Korean cyber tools, IP addresses used that had been linked to past North Korean operations, language patterns inside the malware. Multiple cybersecurity firms independently confirmed this finding.
Most of the breaches are smash and grab, so if the North Koreans did indeed erase data, that's a step up. That's more like an attack than what we've seen in the past. My lesson is, if you're going to make fun of the dear leader, maybe you should think twice if you don't have backups.
But North Korea denied involvement. It was obvious this breach was carried out by a well-trained cyber unit with resources that ordinary hackers could never dream of. A force that had rehearsed this breach with precision and executed it with stunning confidence. Further investigation revealed that the attackers likely used spear phishing emails, targeted emails designed to trick Sony employees into giving away login credentials. Once inside the network, they used custom malware, including wiper malware, which erased data from thousands of Sony computers. backdoor tools that allowed quiet remote access, keyloggers that captured passwords, and privilege escalation tools, which gave them administrator-level control. The attackers had been inside Sony's network for months, quietly mapping systems before launching the final destructive payload. This technique is called an advanced persistent threat, meaning long-term, stealthy infiltration. For Sony, the aftermath felt surreal. The company had to return to pen and paper communication. Entire teams were stranded without tools. Executives who normally managed global entertainment operations suddenly found themselves writing instructions on whiteboards and sending couriers between floors. This was not just an attack. It was a reset. A violent shove back into the analog world. The Sony breach forced every major corporation on Earth to look in the mirror. Suddenly, cybersecurity was not about firewalls and antivirus programs. It was about geopolitics. It was about protecting intellectual property worth billions. It was about safeguarding people whose names were now exposed to threats simply because they worked at the wrong company at the wrong time. This attack revealed something uncomfortable. Hacks are no longer limited to criminals trying to steal credit card numbers. Today's attackers have government funding, military structures, and long-term strategic goals. They choose targets that create headlines. They choose targets that create fear. And they choose targets that expose how fragile the digital world truly is. But vulnerability does not have to remain vulnerability. The industries that learned from the Sony attack began rewriting their cybersecurity playbooks. More monitoring, more intelligence gathering, more predictive systems capable of spotting threats long before a breach. Companies realized that survival in the digital world depends on having a partner who understands the battlefield. A partner built to fight shadows with insight. This is where Tileris shines. Tileris provides business-level protection designed for modern cyber threats. Advanced threat detection. Monitoring that never sleeps. Tools built for companies that cannot afford to wake up one morning and discover their entire digital world has vanished. The Sony attack will always be remembered as a turning point. A moment when Hollywood learned the hard way that the biggest battles do not always take place on set. Sometimes they take place behind keyboards. Sometimes they hide inside lines of code. Sometimes they come from enemies you never even see. And if this story proves anything, it is that no one is too big or too creative or too important to be targeted. But with the right protection, you can make sure the next attack never becomes your headline. If you want your business shielded with intelligence-driven cybersecurity that stays alert even when you are not, visit Tileris.com. Tileris is here to help you stay secure, stay informed, and stay one step ahead of the shadows.